A grim ending to the mystery surrounding a missing AirAsia passenger jet. Several bodies and a lot of debris have been seen floating in the waters off of Indonesia this morning. Parts of the wreckage have been found about 160 kilometers from land and 10 kilometers away from the flight's last known coordinates. The plane was on its way from Indonesia to Singapore on Sunday when it crashed into the Java Sea after encountering bad weather. 162 people were on board. Relatives of those on board the plane continue to wait at an airport in Indonesia. Local television stations actually showed images, pardon me, of bodies being recovered, causing wails of grief, as you can imagine, among those watching in the waiting room. Many of them broke into tears while they held on to one another. One man collapsed and needed to be carried out on a stretcher. Elsewhere around the world, the Greek ferry fire that triggered a massive rescue operation has taken 2 more lives. Albanian authorities say 2 sailors on board a tugboat died after apparently being hit by a cable they'd been trying to attach to the drifting and burned out vessel. The rescue operation saved more than 400 people from that vessel, including a Canadian man, but at least 10 others were killed. The emergency room at Vancouver General Hospital is significantly busier than usual this week. Wait times at the ER reportedly hit 7 hours yesterday. Vancouver Coastal Health says a spike in patients is usually seen after Christmas. High volume of patients, probably because of people putting off being treated for minor injuries over the holidays and doctors' offices being closed for the holidays. Wait times are now reportedly returning to normal. Police are investigating reports of a possible shooting in Burnaby last night. A large police presence was seen in the Patterson Avenue and Victoria Street area. Nothing's been confirmed yet, but it's believed one person was shot in the leg. Empty rounds were found on the road outside of a home that was surrounded by officers. 2015 is going to be an expensive year as British Columbians brace to pay more for a number of services. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation says there are up to 6 increases coming down the pipe for the average person in this province. We'll be paying more for MSP, with families of 3 or more being charged an extra $96 annually. BC Hydro and BC Ferries are jacking prices, and ICBC is expected to increase rates as well. EI and CPP are also going up, but those hikes aren't as steep as previous years.
If you're a family and you have a skewed income level where you and your partner make different levels of money and you have kids under the age of 18, there is a great possibility that you're going to save money this year thanks to the federal government's tax cuts. But that is a very narrow group of people, and for people on fixed incomes or other people who make roughly the same amount of money and live together, not much good news this year.
People in Metro Vancouver are also facing a possible transit tax increase, depending on the results of a spring referendum. Many people are making plans for ringing in 2015 and staying up late tomorrow night, but there are still calls for a free public New Year's celebration in the city of Vancouver. Let's join Greg Harper now with the latest from Jackpool Plaza on that. Greg?
Good morning, Jody. Well, wouldn't it be something if there was some New Year's Eve fireworks here directly behind me? That was what was planned, but it isn't going to happen. Organizers simply couldn't raise enough money to go ahead with this. It was being put on by the Vancouver New Year's Eve Celebration Society, but the organization fell short of raising $300,000 to put the event on. So no fireworks in Vancouver, but other major cities in Canada have been able to put a fireworks display on, like cities in Calgary and Edmonton and Montreal and Mississauga. All of these cities will have New Year's Eve fireworks, but again, not here in Vancouver. Well, there's one Vancouver City Councillor who's not too happy about it. NPA Councillor George Affleck says actually it's a little embarrassing the city the size of Vancouver doesn't have an official public celebration.
There are a lot of people interested in organizing this event, a lot of private sector that's interested in this. I think there's donors out there, there's sponsors out there. We need to just work closer as a city, I believe, in ensuring this happens. I think it's for the best for the city. We're a major city in this country, and yet we don't have a major New Year's Eve event.
Organizers are planning on some New Year's Eve fireworks next year. That's the plan anyways. Jody?
All right, thanks so much. Greg Harper reporting live this morning from Jackpool Plaza. The most popular place to ring in the new year in North America is, of course, Times Square in New York City. The world-famous New Year's Eve ball has received a major makeover. Workers have installed almost 300 new crystals into the 12-feet-wide sphere. They're said to represent this year's theme of the gift of fortitude. There are more than 2,600 panels along the infamous ball. Ball drop in Times Square has been a New York New Year's tradition since 1907 and has become a global symbol of ushering in the new year. Confetti inside the New Year's Eve ball is also being tested for its airworthiness. The pieces are first dropped by hand from the tops of buildings around Times Square in Midtown Manhattan. But what's special about this test run is the confetti contains wishes for the new year from thousands of people in the area. On New Year's Eve, almost 1 ton of confetti will be tossed into a crowd of an estimated 1 million revelers in Times Square. Just coming up to 7:07, we'll talk some sports here. Canada gets the day off today at the World Junior Hockey Championships, but here's what the boys did last night. Anthony Duclair and his Canadian line continued to roll at the tournament. He had a goal and an assist, while Sam Reinhart scored twice. Max Domi added 2 helpers as Canada beat Finland 4-1. The undefeated Canadians will play the U.S. for first place in Group A on New Year's Eve. And we'll all be watching. We'll also be watching this, the Canucks in San Jose tonight facing the Sharks. Puck drops at 7 o'clock, and you can watch it on Sportsnet.